All right. As the the lines are being muted for a few seconds and get everybody muted out. There we go. Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Roz, VP of Communications, and this is Wake Up to Akana. Oh my God, we're so excited to have you here this morning from all over the country. Just love it, hearing your voices. And for those of you that don't know, this is the day that we hear something that's rarely takes place in a lot of different companies that you often get to understand, get to know, get to hear from our CEO. We always want to be attached to the vision and the visionary. And we're excited because we have one of the best CEOs in all of the world. Yeah, I said it, the world. This woman, in case you don't know, for those of you that are brand new here, we welcome you. She brings over 29 years of experience in direct selling. She's had more than 15 years in corporate America. Really, she's just a powerhouse. And she's been MVP of 6 of the 8 companies that she ever worked for full time. Built, coached distributors. Listen, she knows how to build. If she was a distributor, she'd already be just the top distributor because she's coached and built over 50,000 distributors in over 40 countries. And we know her as Melissa Boston. Melissa, are you out there?
Good morning. Good morning, Dr. Roz. I am here. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, every time I get on this call, you blow me away because I'm first of all just honored. I'm humbled by you being so gracious to introduce and welcome our callers. I mean, you are so modest. Our VP of Communications, as I tell people all the time, I don't know what we would do without you. I remember even before you came on board with a formal title, you were already holding it down, doing so many things, just that natural servant heart, that natural leader. You're an Emerald director and just doing big things there in Houston, Texas. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And like you said, it is always exciting when you hear people dialing in from coast to coast. And so I'm going to say good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone and jump right into it. First and foremost, just for those of you who might be joining us for the very first time, if you're a guest out there perhaps, and someone's invited you to take a listen to us this morning, the meaning of Akana means in the hands of God. Our mission, we believe health, wealth, freedom, and our legacy are our birthright. By offering the most life-changing products and an innovative business, we empower people to elevate to their full potential. And so this month, if you don't know, it is Support Black Business Month, and our team has been at it. So you're going to see some awesome education about our products dropping on social media, via emails all month long. And guess what? Yes, we are running a special. It's 15% off site wide on all retail products all month long if you spend a minimum of 25 bucks, okay? And so that's going to be an exciting way to really help build your business, to get the message out for them to support your Black business this month, okay? And so also too, just a quick update because I do know some of you are looking for your numbers. I know we have people like Dr. Betty just crossed over, has won that cruise, or not the cruise, has won the trip to Florida, okay? So she's won that phenomenal retail retreat, and I know many, many more of you. So here's what's going to happen because the numbers are still coming in and they're straightening and backdating some of the ones who got in just after midnight, after 1 o'clock. We're going to have all those numbers on our Thursday call because remember, July was your last month to get those numbers in. So we were helping the system to get cleaned up so that we can have an accurate count of where you're at. Remember, if you purchase that Black card, you have additional leverage, more points. And so you're going to have your final numbers at the top of the hour on Thursday this week. Okay. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to be on a train getting my granddaughter back to Southern Illinois. And so you're going to hear the numbers. So super excited. Make sure you get on Thursday so that you can hear exactly where you're at. We're also going to post that as well. I want to give a shout out real quick to those of you tuning in from the EE. We had a full house. So, hey, I know Brenda came all the way from Virginia to be here at the Soul of Bronzeville, and they did the overnight, her and Cherie Eppinger, from Indiana. We know that she's one of our phenomenal Ruby directors, Cherie. I know Brenda Sapphire. and then Cheryl Johns and Bertha Mines, who's a regular. I mean, she's got so many awesome stories and benefits. It's always exciting when you can share, her story. Paula G. Sorry, Paula, she had a special treatment for us last night, but we had to go upstairs and get some stuff done with these bath salts. So I will take you up on it, Paula, the next time I see you, because she had something special for our hands to really give us a treatment. And I know I need it because my hands are not feeling that smooth this morning, okay? And then Sanal. In fact, what I want to do this morning, we're going to let you guys relax. Normally we come in and kind of disrupt the environment to do the meditation, but I know it was a late night, okay? We had a lot going on. We had also a private party at 4 o'clock yesterday, which was a spa birthday celebration. That kind of carried over. And so Sanal, for those of you after the call who want to just sit there and do your meditation, she can put some great relaxation music on to help you do that. We're going to be there still to meditate today. So we're coming back. We're going to do that, but it's going to be a little bit later today because we have a tea party with Anaya and Dr. Betty's granddaughters, and that's going to happen a little bit later. So super excited about the fun we're going to be able to do for the girls. But what I'm going to do this morning, it's going to be a little different because I'm going to take you on a journey. I got our Diamond Mooney on the line who's going to help deliver the message this morning and just share something very special. But when I really think about this weekend, I really believe it was about breaking generational curses, guys. I want you to think about this. Think about in your life, okay? Everyone has something typically, we call it a vice, right? Some people call it an addiction. Some people call it procrastination, right? It's something that, for whatever reason, it seems to hold you back. And if you look around in your family, in your bloodline, right, sometimes you see this has been common, right? Sometimes you notice there's a person who'll tell the story of their mom being an alcoholic. And then the next thing you know, this person's in their 40s and 50s. And guess what? Sometimes you hear they became an alcoholic too. And you're like, wow, wait a minute. What happened? There was a study where they studied the bloodline of 1,200 people who just seemed to have a lot of problems, a lot of trauma. And when they studied that bloodline, there was about 120 of them that had ended up in prison. There was about another 100 of them, that just ended up in just pure, poverty. And then there was another like 500 where, again, life was a struggle. And they just studied them and they said, wow, it's amazing how sometimes in families, you can have 10% of the family keep cycling in and out of prison, in and out of poverty. So many things happening. But then they studied another family and they looked at 1,400 members of this other family. And they were looking like, wow, we noticed that many of them served on the board at prestigious universities. Many of them went on to have political positions across the country. Many of them were independently wealthy. And it was just this study. Now, we know that through slavery, a lot of our generational curses weren't really by our own fault, right? We know that life was interrupted. And sometimes it's easier for people when they start life and they're already got their 40 acres and a mule, right? So we know that here we're up against so much more as African Americans, right? Because we dealt with things that are really a part of it is 400 years of what we've been through, okay? But here's the reality, guys. We don't care whatever it is going on in your life, food, right? Bad relationships, a lot of things happening with the family where you just don't seem like they're staying on track, okay? Bad attitudes, negative thinking, living check to check, never seem to be able to get a head start in life. And we think about historically, what did our parents go through? What did our grandparents go through, right? And so we know a part of it is changing our environment, right? We have to change our environment so that we can then do the work and then we can change our life, okay? We know that God is a way maker when there's no way, okay? He makes a way. And so we have to really learn that our mindset, okay, it's not about what happens to you, right? So many people think life is about what happens. It's how you respond, which is why in any situation, any tribulation that you're going through, it's about your attitude, how you have a certain resilience that you're going to say, you know what, not me, not today, not my family. I'm going to be the one that's going to help break this cycle. And so we have some exciting things happening, right, all over the country. We have exciting things happening right here in Chicago, okay? I mean, we're talking about, we called a play, and the play was Soul of Bronzeville. to see the heart and soul of really what we sparked here in the midst of a pandemic in 2020. When we launched a business, when businesses were failing and closing every day, we'd already started in 2019, but then we were in a little bitty kind of like building, right? It was total of about 1,500 square foot. We had 500 square foot, but we expanded our business. We had the audacity to think bigger. We had the audacity to do something that other people thought, wow, how's that going to happen? And so we called a play. That play, again, was Soul of Bronzeville, Taste of Akana, Battle of the Blood Types, okay? But let me just say this, guys, resistance is real. But you know what? You have to be grateful for the resistance. You have to have an attitude of gratitude. You have to understand that everything that's being worked out is worked out for your good. It's for a purpose. It's for a reason. And a lot of times when you have these obstacles, sometimes you have to be silent. And I know for me, what I realized this weekend, I said, you know what? I'm not making phone calls. We're going to see really where this resistance is. And we're going to also understand really who is going to fight to get here, okay? Because here's the reality, guys. Without any type of resistance, if you're working out, you're not going to build any muscles. So if you're not feeling the pressure of life, how are you going to go to the next level? Your brain is a muscle and it must be worked, which is why we grow and learn more from failure than success. And let me just say this, guys, again, we kicked this weekend off and we already knew the resistance was real because sometimes it's a feeling you have that's in the universe, right? Tracy and I talk about this all the time. It's like, wow, you're feeling it. You know, you can almost taste it, right? A busy weekend just before school, vacations, a lot going on. And then what happens is life will life on you in the middle of what you thought was your best laid plan. You know, I get a call with Bernadine, and she's, again, the first person to book this event. You know, here she is in a different state, the first person. But again, resistance is real. Had a medical emergency with her husband. She was traveling literally from Florida all the way to Boston, okay? I'm telling you, resistance is real. Got a call from Gigi, another major emergency. Had booked her flight, supposed to be in on Tuesday. Phyllis, we all know what happened with her. Her aunt died. So she's in where? They're taking care of her family. Resistance is real. Kathy Weathersby, okay, made it to Chicago. Kathy, love you, dear, came in. You know, things started to happen, guys. But at the end of the day, understand what you're going to learn through this conversation today is resistance is real. But you know what? Remember what I said earlier. This weekend was about breaking generational curses, okay? And so we kicked this weekend off, right? We said, you know what? The show goes on. And so let me just explain the very first event. The very first formal event was at the beach, okay? Now, we were at the beach on 63rd. Now, you would not know if you didn't live in Chicago, that Chicago could have a beach that if you're on it and it had blindfolds and didn't know what city they dropped you in, you would think you're somewhere where there's a major body of water, like an ocean, okay? You might even think you're somewhere like Hawaii. You might think you're in Miami. You might think you're anywhere but Chicago. So we first dropped at 63rd with cabanas. We had a phenomenal chef, you know, making food and, you know, drinks waited on in these cabanas. And guess what? When I really look at the numbers, and this number comes back over and over, there were about 12 of us, okay? Not a big crowd, but again, we had the most amazing time. And I just give a shout out to those who were there, okay? I know Kiera and Saul came all the way from Arkansas, right? All the way from Arkansas. And we wanted to ensure we show them the best time, okay? That evening, you know, we actually had planned a listening party. And again, you're going to see this number 12 keep coming back. You know, we had people like Sylvia who started to be there, was there for about an hour and a half. But again, resistance is real, right? Sylvia had to leave. Resistance is real. We never saw Sylvia again the whole weekend, okay? Because guess what? Resistance is real. But guess what happened that night, right? We all of a sudden started to have folks show up. We had a good time. And when I did the numbers, it was about 12 of us, guys. Taste of Akana on Saturday, right? I'm telling you what, this was probably so special because of the fact that we pulled so much out of what the future of that looks like, because it became something different than what I first imagined, which is why sometimes, God tells you and shows you how you work in silence, because sometimes you don't even know fully what's the vision of it, okay, until you have a chance to see it played out. And it became something much more powerful because there was the synergy of energy. I get a call, that morning from Diamond Moon, who you're going to hear from, okay? Resistance is real. He's like, Melissa, everything in life is happening. Life is lifing right now. There is no way I should be there, but I am not going to let you down. I'm going to be there. And let me just tell you something. When teamwork start happening, teamwork makes the dream work. And we delivered a taste of Akana that literally set the precedent for what we're about to do in September, guys. So I'm not going to get all into it. He's going to share some of that journey, okay? I'll say something before I bring him up that's going to set the tone for what he's going to share with you. But I want to just, again, let you know resistance is real, but understand it's when you are building through resistance is when your muscle of the brain, the muscle of the body, the muscle of the mind truly start to develop, and you end up in a direction that's so much bigger and better than you could have ever been without resistance, guys. And so then we had something going on, and we had something going on where we had a battle of the blood types. And by the way, I got to give a shout out to Dr. Betty and Crystal Robinson, because they did the soul massages, first forehand massage, guys. I'm telling you what, Saturday spa party was something special. I was so happy one of my childhood best friends was able to make it with her nephew. I know Mosin, his wife Kim. It was something special. But I want to give a shout out to those ladies, because I'm telling you what, there's something going on when you combine the power of touch. So many people haven't had a massage ever, okay? Or maybe they've had one in their lifetime. But it's a breakthrough that happens when we can massage them at the level of the DNA. And that's through the energy system. That's massaging the DNA and every cell in your body. But when you have these phenomenal women lay hands on you, it's like something else is happening, okay? It is absolutely amazing. But let's talk about the battle of the blood types. And after Mooney delivers his message, I'm going to give you just a snippet, okay, a snippet of what's about to happen, guys. But again, Kathy, my granddaughter Anaya, went that morning to make sure we were opened on time. I said, everything we do, at least the doors will be open on time. Every event we had, regardless, doors were open and on time, okay? So we have learned and we are growing, and we love that. So thank you, Audrey Jones, also, who helped make sure our listening party on Friday night started on time, okay? But for the battle of the blood types, Mooney was there early too, so it was great to have the three of them there, working to make sure everything was set up properly. Then Crystal Robinson shows up, Mo Williams. All of a sudden, Margaret Dorsey shows up, Chaotic Cooks, Tracy Bolton, Audrey Jones. By the time we got the event started, we were almost at that number 12, okay? I'm like, okay, God, I know you're talking to me, right? Because when we think about how we're about to launch a movement, we're about to launch something that's going to hit millions of people. We're about to launch this whole do you know your blood type, and it really kicks off with this battle of the blood types. I said the next two people that walk through the door, there are 12, because I know somebody's going to knock on that door. And who would knock on the door? Cherie Eppinger, right, from Indianapolis. Brenda Jones from Virginia, okay? Of course, our Dr. Betty, are fashionably on time. I'm not going to say late, because she's, what is it called, B negative. If you know anything about negative blood, we call that the queen's blood, right? So the queen is always the last to the party, and it's okay. Cheryl Johns, again, we kept featuring everything, and it always ended back at around this number of 12. It's like, God, what you doing, right? What are you doing? What are you showing us? That evening, I had a chance to meet family members that I had never met in life. My grandfather, who's 96, he had a cousin he was raised with. Her name was Cecilia. She lived here in Chicago. I invited her to my wedding because I wanted my grandparents to be able to be together with her. And so she had some medical things going on, was not able to make it to my wedding back in 2016. So my grandfather would spend all those years still not reconnecting with her. He wanted to reconnect with her during right before the pandemic, but the pandemic came. She ended up passing away in 2022. But she's got kids, okay? Kids. And those children, literally, not even children, she's got grandkids. And the grandkids were able to come and spend time with. Now, the grandkids are in their 50s like me, right? But they did a spa birthday party. So we had them there, and they hosted the cousin Charlotte, who it was her birthday, and it was just phenomenal. So we just had the best time. And I thank you, Akana, for all who showed up and showed out and poured love even into the family that I'd never met. But we stayed and talked after the event for hours, caught up on just the history of the family, on great, great, great grandparents I didn't even know about and know the stories of. And so it was just, again, a weekend about breaking generational curses because in their bloodline, they're dealing with a lot of medical emergencies, diabetes, and so many things. And they're like, Melissa, we want you guys to help us. They end up buying CBD products and so much more. They're about to do the cleanse. But again, breaking generational curses. And so now I'm going to set up the play to hand the ball to Mooney. And here's how I'm going to set it up. Now, when I talk about breaking generational curses, many of you know the story of my great grandmother, Melissa Bixby, who I never had the chance to meet, but she's my namesake, okay? And so she died on an operating table at 46 years young. Before I ever knew she was here in Bronzeville, cleaning the homes of the wealthy on King Drive, taking the bus for 35th and King. Before I knew any of that, God gave us a vision to be there on 35th and King. I learned that after my grandmother would pass of the story. And so every time I look out the window, I see that bus stop, guys. And so the reality is this: my granddaughter, which would be her great, 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 that's 3 generations of great, was there this weekend. And she asked me, she says, Grandma, could I make some food and sell it at the Taste of Akana? Because she wants to be a baker and own a bakery. She is a culinary princess. I mean, she's phenomenal at making dishes. And I said, sure. I said, you just have to make it vegan. So we went and found all the vegan supplies. She made her dish. And she had a goal to reach of $100 so she can buy her gym shoes and whatever extra she was going to use it for her school supplies. I'm like, what kid makes money for their own school supplies? Most kids just look for the parents to do it. I'm like, this girl is just too much. And so the reality is this: she was able to accomplish a goal. And I'm going to now turn it over to Diamond Mooney, who has literally, came through this weekend in such a big, big way, but just super, proud of what you're doing. And so can you, as our phenomenal Diamond leader, as a serial entrepreneur, someone who I feel really has that Midas touch, because whatever you do, whatever play we call, you knock it out the park. I'm so proud of where you are with your team and how you're helping so many people by leading from the front. If I look at the list for Florida, you're at the top of the list, leading by example, have so many people from your team who have won that with you. So can you kind of share and just let them know when we talk about generational curses and what you were able to witness on Saturday?
Wow. Well, couple things. Melissa, let me just say, resistance is real. I think that's an understatement. A lot of times we find ourselves like not wanting to budge and not wanting to move. And let me say something, just in case William Morris is on this call. I just want to thank you. I want to thank Kim, his girlfriend, his somebody that he cares about, for coming through. I just want to thank them because resistance is real, and I know he pressed his way to get there. So just a special shout out, because when you hear about Battle of the Blood Types, that's like a call his baby and your baby together, 2 blood type A. Moving right along. Now I'm gonna have to give this special shout out to why resistance is so real. It's a rough time for a lot of people. It's a rough, extremely rough season for me and my wife. I can name, it's a rough season for Phyllis. It's a rough season for Crystal Robinson. It's a rough season for Mama Dorsey. For Dr. Roz has been through a rough, oh my God, a rough season. if you all just even took the time to just listen to some of the past calls, and I would say you don't even have to go back a whole month. Everybody has been going through, and I know it's rough on our CEO. Which brings me to my thought of the weekend. I'm going to be honest and transparent. Everything that hit me and has been hit me, I mean, everything from just everything. I'm not going to even go down the list. But it was, I would say, it was no reason for me to go. In my head, I'm like, I could give a reason to not show up. But this one time, and I've been taking ownership of my time. This one time, Melissa, honestly, I said to myself, I just followed my spirit and I was like, you know what? She shows up for me. I'm not going to let her down. And I don't know why I zoomed in particularly to Melissa not letting her down versus the company of Akana. I don't know. But I tell you, showing up was so amazing. And I'm going to fast forward so I can give you the blessing that I received from her granddaughter. Young entrepreneur, 12 years old. And when I walked in, that was the first face that I saw. Right now, she was kind of, it's certain things I didn't know. One, not until the Battle of the Blood Types, or somewhere up in there, I found out she was a blood type B positive. I'm a blood type B positive. Now, I always vibe with this lady because I knew it was something. She's special, Tyreek's daughter, which makes her even more special. That's my brother. But I find myself, for some reason, challenging her on just being the best that she can be. I don't think this particular weekend was by coincidence, because she made these little Oreo balls. I'm not a sweet person, but I saw, and then she felt compelled to show me the goal of what she tried to accomplish, and she zoomed straight in. Like, I'm here to make some money. Now, that's my way of saying it, but she gave me that B positive disposition. And $4 at a time, she showed me that she was going to sell these Oreo balls $4 at a time, right? Because each ball, I think she made it and had about 4 of them in the cup. Oh my God, they taste amazing. But she wanted to $4 her way to $100 gym shoot. Man, that was amazing because, man, let me tell you, I'm around, well, let me just say, I can find myself in a space where there are kids, right, older and young adults that are trying to get $100 gym shoot, but they ain't trying to work. So that was very impressive to me. So we came up, talked to her, came up with a game plan. Now, technically, she had about 12 cups. Don't get me with the math real quick, right? But she would have concluded her sales with about $44, you all. $4 at a time for the number of cups that she had. This is God's math. Now, I don't know. Don't ask me. The Spirit of God moved, and you should have saw this young lady's face light up because she fulfilled her mission. Not only did she get the $44, you all, she walked away with $180. You talk about the joy of knowing a little girl's face light up, a young entrepreneur, somebody who, and she's a blood type B positive, let's just throw that out there. Man, that was worth my whole weekend. And I said, you coming back? Because we had something, this Battle of the Blood type thing, and that little B positive, I'm so happy about Anaya. It's so much happened, but I'm not going to take the call over. I just want you all to know that if a 12-year-old can show up, set a goal, and then receive exceedingly, abundantly, more than she would dare to ask. Like, woo! That set me on fire. Back to you, Melissa.
Wow. You know what? The way you just put that, I mean, it just literally brought tears to my eyes because you're right. And yeah, breaking generational curses, guys, because when you connect the dots and she's in the same building that we saw the vision to be in and had this goal to make it happen. And then here's what else happened, Mooney. I don't know if she told you this, but she was at Mariano's and there was a woman who was in need. And so, Anaya, being who she is, had two bills on her. One of them was a $1 and one of them was a $20. Now, I find this story out later, okay? So Anaya, as I'm talking to her last night, I said, wow, I said, Anaya, I said, you were very generous. You gave her $20. I said, wow, I said, that's just very generous, right? Because I just know, like you said, things are tight. There's battles out there. And I said, and she said, well, here's what happened. She said that when I looked at the woman, she said she looked like she was in such distress. And she said, I thought if I gave her that $1, all she could buy was a water or Roman noodles. She said, but if I gave her at least $5, she could at least get something to eat. She said, but I didn't have $5. She said, I had $1 or I had a 20 on me. And she said, and I said, but you know what? I said, in life, sometimes you got to follow your instinct. And if your instinct said that woman, I said, you might have just made her year. She said, you might have gave her so much joy, because I think she kind of took a little slack from a few people who were like, oh, you shouldn't give her $20. I probably went out and got drugs. And maybe that's true. Who knows? But the point is, her heart was so pure to look a woman in her eyes and see distress and to feel that there's something she should do to bless her beyond $1. So she just didn't have to go get water. And that just got me last night too. So I'm just telling you guys, we are just, it hit me, because you never know what people are going through. And even when you have somebody like her who, her parents, they just bought a house. So there's things going on there. Things are tight. She's trying to make her own money, and here's the reality. She also had made more than she thought. So she said, well, with the rest of the money, I'll buy my school supplies. I'm like, what kid buys their own school supplies? And then Tracy blessed Anaya with school supplies. So she gave her the school supplies. So I'm just telling you, it's just when you do things into the world, things come back. It's like a boomerang, but we have to put the positive out there so that what comes back to us is positive. And so that's, just to add to your story, Mooney. But yeah, amazing. Yes.
Powerful. So, and I'll just throw this out here, if I may, Melissa.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
A lot of times it's rough. And it's so easy to look at, like you said, what's wrong. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of things that are wrong. I mean, let's say in perspective to whoever's, maybe looking through their window and looking out that window. But a lot of times, and less times, we focus on exactly what we have been given, which is a gift from God, and then being in the hands of God. So God is what I see him doing in this season, which really encourages me, and I know it encourages you, is to keep pressing towards the mark, because he's genuinely, for those who are present in his presence, he's winking at us. He gives us these winks and let us know, I got you. You're headed in the right direction. And it's not easy. Nobody said it would be easy, but I got you. You're headed in the right direction. So if I could say anything to any of the listeners, keep going. Don't give up. We do have an amazing thing. We have an amazing CEO. We have amazing, amazing women who stood in the gap in which there was tons of resistance. I've seen it. But why would we just stop? Why would we just let it go? I don't think that's the destiny when we say that God has given us a gift. And then being in his hands, why would we just throw that away and let the devourer just take it or give it away? See, that's the same thing that happened way back when. We're trying to find ourselves a way back, but you don't have to look very far because it's right in your hand. So with that being said, Melissa, I hope that it encourages somebody to keep pressing towards the mark.
Wow. And I know it does. And I guess I'll just end it with then the next event then. So we are doing the Battle of the Blood Type Taste of Akana on September 21st. And we have our blood type A's who are cooking up some amazing food for blood type A's. We have our blood type B's, our blood type O's, and our blood type ABs, and they're going to all be able to actually sell tickets. So it'll work similar to how we did it Saturday, where people came in, they bought tickets for $2 a ticket, and then you redeem your tickets like cash, okay? We're going to put this one on Eventbrite. The last one, again, we wanted to move in silence. We said who shows up, shows up. That's what we're working with. We want to get this formula right. Once we get it right, we're going to knock it out the park. We're going to see hundreds of people come through. And so we're going to have these different stations with this phenomenal food. And by the way, your blood type A chef, Pastor Will, knocked it out the park. Everybody, my cousins who ate that kale salad, everybody wants that recipe. Those kales taste like cooked greens, and they were raw. It was so delicious, guys. So I tell Will we need him on the blood type A station.
I sure will.
Okay. So I need to get all my blood type A chefs. Okay. And so guys, this is going to be amazing. The way it works, you'll buy a ticket for $5 to get in, or you can buy a family packet ticket to 10 for I believe $30. That gets you in the door. Once you're in the door, you're able to go to the stations after you buy your tickets and consume all these amazing foods. And we're going to just see who brings it, right? We're going to see who brings it. And we're going to educate people in such a fun way. We're going to do blood type testing that day. We're going to combine it with games, education. It's just going to be a spectacular day. So mark your calendars, guys, for September 21st. That is our Battle of the Blood Type Taste of Akana. You'll be back there at our corporate office. And so with that being said, always we want to remind you of some of the things you want to tune into right now. I know we're doing reboundwithakana.com. So make sure you join Save Our Strands at 2:30. Hey, is that Dr. Ross?
No, that's Margaret.
Oh, Margaret, hey.
Hey, I just wanted to share, and that's going to be a nationwide. Isn't that going to be for every market? We're going to
Yes, we want to duplicate. Thank you, Margaret Dorsey. Yes, we want to duplicate that. And thank you for being there Sunday, girl. Yeah, that was God working it out to get the people in place to have the mastermind session we needed. That session on Sunday was so powerful, guys. You missed it. They were like, is this being recorded? It's like, no. But guess what? Everybody around the country, Gigi, Bernadine, Dr. Roz, we want you to kick yours off with your Battle of the Blood Types, and it's going to be on and popping. God turned 12 into what? When you think about it, right? Think about it, guys, right? The power, we can impact billions of people, but at least we're going to start with hundreds, and then it's going to go thousands, and then it's going to go millions, and then we go to billions. So thank you. And with that being said, guys, Save Our Strands at 2:30, Diamond Factory tomorrow, same time, same channel. And always, we want you to have an Akana day. We're going to see you at the top, the very top, the tip top.